For the love of games.
Silent night. I tried to be super serious about that, but then Travis laughed immediately. You ruined my performance.
I didn't do anything.
Really,
I'm the
dude?
Jimmy Fallon of this
top.
podcast.
Take it from the top. Take it from the top.
Should I? Okay. Silent night. That's when you guys join in?
Oh, holy night.
I was trying to harmonize, Evan.
Hello, everybody.
Keep going. I was working
Hi.
on my voice.
Welcome to probably the worst intro to the Pixel Attack podcast we've done to date. It's good to know that 3 episodes in, we've already hit rock bottom. It's all uphill from here,
It only
boys.
go up from here.
Yeah, right to the top. How's it going, everybody? Welcome. It is Pixel Attack podcast time, episode 3 for December 20th, which is crazy. 4 days to Christmas. Woo! That's exciting. Are you guys excited?
Yeah, I guess so. To me, it hasn't
get it.
really. Christmas hasn't hit me this year. I feel like I'm less and less looking forward to Christmas every year, just because I've got.
Grinch.
When you're a kid,
Because
you're
you're a
so
Grinch,
excited. You're counting down from like October, and then once you're an adult, you're like,
Do you
I
guys
just buy
wake
my
up?
stuff I want. So
I kind of agree with Travis. Like, I get to. It's cool to get to hang out with my family, but they live like a block from me, so it's not a huge deal.
yeah.
It's not like I don't ever see them, but like I get stuff.
Yeah, I purposefully did not buy Smash Bros. For Wii U because I wanted to give my family like a good thing they could give me.
Don't let me
And
down.
I'm super stoked to open on Christmas morning. And last year it was Super Mario 3D World, and they came through, and I was so stoked, and I had a great day. So I'm looking forward to Christmas because then I can finally play Super Smash Bros. Wii U.
I'll
Do you-
finally be able to stomp you into the dirt.
I have
Wow.
these amiibos sitting on my shelf that I haven't used yet. So
Them's fighting.
zapped
I don't
them
know
into
if
Mario
amiibos
Kart.
work. I don't know if amiibos work online.
yeah, that's what I've heard is that they don't, which is too bad. But I
That's
just
kind of a
wanna
shame
beat them
because
up
I would have
myself.
loved to. Yeah.
Man, Nevin, you and I are gonna go mano a mano like Boxing Day, and it's gonna
gonna-
be great. So
I'm gonna destroy you.
let's see. All right.
This is.
Well, hey, I'm asking for a game capture device too, so we can record Nevin and I going mano
Yes!
a mano, and you
Okay.
guys, the Pixel
Oh.
Attack listeners, can find out once and for all who is the better Pixel Attack contributor. Well, they'll
This
find
is-
out.
I'm sorry. I need to cut in. This is getting far too hostile for this time of year. This is a time of year when it's all about joy and loving and caring, and you two immediately started going at each other's throats.
Oh,
Death threats.
We
right
opened
off the-
with Silent Night.
I can't
and
help it.
Now it's
Took a quick turn, eh?
now it's oh, you guys are brutal. Anyways, welcome to the Pixel Attack podcast. What was I saying? From the top.
Try that again. Yeah.
Welcome to the Pixel Attack podcast, everyone. We are so overjoyed. I'm more excited that you're here watching us than I am for Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank
That's
you
saying
for
a lot,
making
Steve.
my Christmas by watching this.
And
Do
God
you guys wake
bless
up
us,
early on
everyone.
Christmas morning?
Yeah.
You do
I
wake up
wake-
early? You wake up early every morning, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to this in the last one. No, I used to be like a 4 a.m. Christmas
too.
waker upper when I was young, and yeah, it was a bit out of control. So now
My
I think
favorite-
it's about 7. But man,
Oh,
just
that's-
knowing those presents are taunting me downstairs, I can't
When
do
I was little, I would get up at like 4:30 some mornings, and my favorite was my mom every year. In my stocking, I'd get like a video game magazine.
Oh, okay.
And they'd always come with the demo discs.
Ooh.
And that's what I would do all morning is I would just play game demos.
You
And
people
that was like
are
my favorite thing
insane.
about Christmas.
I woke up at like noon on Christmas.
What?
I've changed now where I am frequently the last person to wake up Christmas morning.
I
Yeah.
can't do that.
We're actually getting all of our Christmas stuff out of the way Christmas Eve. So I literally just have the day off, Christmas and the day after.
Oh yeah. That
Oh,
makes sense.
I have like 2 weeks off for work, so lots of
Jeez.
content coming your way. 'Cause I have,
I have
nothing
some Christmas
to
fell on a
do
really
with my life.
Christmas fell on a really
Yeah.
good time this year because
Yeah.
Christmas is Thursday, and then Friday we have Boxing Day. Nevin, do you guys get Boxing Day off?
I don't know what Boxing Day is?
That's a Canadian thing, Steve.
Boxing Day is
That is a Canadian thing.
It's our
our
Black
Black
Friday.
Friday. It's
And then-
our
Okay.
biggest shopping day of the year.
Yeah, and then we
No,
just
we
took Black
don't.
Friday too. So
But
now we have
I,
two.
I requested I requested the day off
Okay,
because
cool.
why am I going to go back into work the day after Christmas
for one
when
day.
it's a Friday?
Yeah.
What's your problem, people?
Yeah.
Totally.
I do get a half day off on Christmas Eve though, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Do you
I'm
guys,
taking Christmas Eve off.
Yeah. Do you guys have a name for the day after Christmas?
The day after Christmas?
That's it? That doesn't roll off the tongue at all.
Friday?
Boxing Day, man. Boxing Day is so official. It's in our calendars. Like everyone, it's a stat holiday actually in Canada. So
Wow.
everyone has to have it off except for retail workers,
Do
obviously.
people die in Canada on Boxing Day like they die on Black Friday in America?
No, you hear lots of stories, but that's about it. So we're pretty mild mannered, all things considered. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever heard
can
of any
imagine.
tramplings or anything like that.
Just trampling
it's
somebody saying
Canada.
sorry,
We're-
sorry.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
so civil about everything. Like, oh, let me
right.
pick you up, and just like,
Please, you
would
first.
Yeah, no, you take the last Xbox. I'll
Yeah.
wait next year. I don't need one.
That's
It's all
I should have come
yours.
earlier. It's my fault.
Yeah. I'm just gonna jump ahead of this right now. The internet seems really bad. Are you guys getting that too?
A little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm
Seems like
getting
there's
that
a bit
too.
of a
It's
delay.
really weird.
It's that Christmas
There's-
internet traffic. Everyone's
Isn't
looking
it
for
great? I love it.
Santa. Everyone's trying to download the Santa Claus at the same time. That Tim Allen movie,
I would
man.
download a Santa Claus.
I was actually
That's a
reading
great
something.
movie. That's
I
a
was reading
classic.
something about that movie about how
on Reddit.
there was that on Reddit? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll share it then. From Reddit, from the front page. Not me. I didn't find this myself. I need to clarify that. But yeah, the Santa Claus movie had a joke about an adult hotline, and then they had to remove it from the movie because some kid racked up like $500 calling an
As a
adult
phone
hotline
bill. Yeah.
as a phone bill, which is hilarious because that movie to me is like the most sanitized children's movie ever.
Wow.
Anyways, we should probably.
Oh, I have a soft spot for Tim Allen, man. Yeah, we can keep going.
We
Say-
started
would you
watching-
say it was?
I could talk your ear off about Tim
wait,
Allen,
Wait,
so-
wait, no, I have a pun.
Oh,
Stop.
stop the
Would you
presses.
say it's the most sanitized movie?
Wow. Let's call
You
the
know what's
podcast
really
right
funny?
here, boys.
You
Going
got
off on a high note. That's
God,
great.
I've been wanting to use that for
Yeah.
so long. You have no idea.
The best part too is you were so excited for your pun, and then as soon as you started doing it, the internet got really choppy, and you couldn't hear what you were saying.
Oh no, I heard it.
Oh no!
But that's
You heard-
okay
well,
because
I-
we're
No.
sending the localized audio, so everyone's
Yes.
gonna hear it.
Hopefully, at least on the audio version of the podcast. Anyways, let's get this show started because we have a lot to get through today.
Oh my
We are
God.
so excited you guys are here to join us for our inaugural third episode. The third date is when things get real serious, so we are super happy that you would invite us into
You
your
can
apartment
just- you
for
can just-
coffee after
Un-
this.
under the shirt, but not under my bra, please.
Yeah,
Just under the shirt.
I draw the line at mid thigh. So the knee is totally, the knee is fire away.
Go for the knee.
Bathing
go
suit
above the knee.
lines, boys. Bathing suit lines.
Depends what type of bathing suit you're wearing.
I suppose.
I'm a banana hammock man myself.
Oh, this is the worst Christmas ever.
Or the best.
I needed that image. and
If
so
you
did our
like
viewers. They needed
Really
that.
pale dudes. Anyways, so this episode, we have two things. This episode and next episode are going to be a little bit different from normal for us because it is the end of the year and we're wrapping stuff up and Kung Pao 1-2 punch, bringing in 2015. So this episode is going to be our year in review. Da, 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 da. That's my fanfare. Someone do Oscar music. Da, 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 da,
Throw it in
da.
post.
Well, now I can't because I sang over it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, I'll find music that is in the same key as me and do that in post, and then it'll sound like a wicked solo.
Good luck.
Yeah, so we're
Just take the
gonna
Oscar music and
we are
make it
here
the
to talk
intro.
about the biggest news stories of 2015. We're gonna talk about how we feel the consoles went, and then we're gonna wrap up with our own personal, our favorites, the things that made us cry, the things that made us smile, the things that shocked us and disturbed us. So let's get right into it, gentlemen, with the biggest headlines of the year. Biggest headlines of the year.
Headlines.
Boom.
Yes.
That's the new jingle.
So I think we can all agree that without a doubt.
Intro?
What's that?
Never mind.
Okay.
Keep going.
Keep going. Keep
I
going.
feel like
keep
we
it
can
rolling.
all
Keep it
agree.
rolling.
Just keep this. Come on, guys. We're barely holding this together right now.
By a thread, boys.
Yes.
By a thread.
This podcast is so much fun to watch because at any minute it could all just totally break down.
Derail, yeah.
And Pixel Attack would just, the next day you'd go to the website and it'd be like, this domain is available. It'd be like one of those mock search engines. Were you looking for penis enlargement?
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine if like none of us were actually like friends? And like we just this is all a facade, and like
Yeah.
after the podcast we're like, all right, see you guys later.
We're the most meta actors ever.
Yeah, this is my audition tape.
Yeah, we're acting for
so-
something that barely anyone watches. That's
News
how dedicated
stories,
we are.
2014.
Yes. Okay, so I think we can all agree.
2014.
Keep going, Steve. Don't let him distract you. Keep
I
going.
believe we can all agree that, without a doubt, one of the biggest things to happen this year, for better or for worse, was a special hashtag movement. Talking, of course, about hashtag We Love Miley. I'm just kidding. Hashtag Gamergate was the big thing that happened this year. I don't know if it's probably the biggest, depends who you talk to, but certainly caused a lot of controversy in the industry. So we're going to get it out first. We're going to get that dirty taste off our tongues first and then clean our palate with some sanitized news stories.
There we go. I like
Yeah. So Gamergate, if you guys aren't familiar, you've been living under a rock for the past year. Gamergate was a
There's no chance
hashtag
of
movement.
that.
What's that?
Oh, I said there's no chance of them not being familiar with Gamergate.
Yeah, I think most people.
It was everywhere.
It was pretty big. So maybe you don't know what Gamergate was. Maybe you're one of those people that's like, it's too late for me to ask because I'll look like an idiot. But what's Gamergate? Gamergate was a hashtag movement started back in August when some people found, allegedly, this is all allegedly, a lot of this stuff is allegedly, so just want to make that clear, found some information that basically linked that there had been some unsavory practices going on in gaming journalism surrounding the subjects that they were covering. There was specific people who were maybe in collusion with one another to get their game covered more readily, and just lots of stuff like that. Lots of questions about what is ethical practices in journalism, and it spiraled into this huge hashtag movement, which unfortunately kind of got derailed and became a lot more about abuse, or people wanted to make it more about the abuse, regardless whether or not abuse was happening. And it kind of got a little bit shady, and it got really muddy and bloody, and both sides became very entrenched. Go for it,
There you
Evan.
go.
The big
Tread
thing that
lightly.
really happened.
This is a
Please.
minefield.
I have feet made of metal. There's no treading lightly
no.
at this.
Just do what
The
you
thing
do,
about
buddy. Go
Gamergate is
stomping.
that, like, it started off as like this huge, like, it started off well, like you said, they were like, hey, we need to have ethics in games journalism, and I feel by extension journalism in general, but this was focusing on the games industry. And it was really well intentioned, but as always happens, and as is the reason why we can't have nice things. That was a weird
Tumblr ruined it.
No.
Not Tumblr, no. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if a few Tumblrites weren't
Okay.
were involved, but the big thing is that just trolls in general came along and did their best to
Trolls.
take Gamergate and create this sort of anti-Gamergate where they were using the Gamergate hashtag to talk trash to female developers, and all sorts of stuff like that, perpetuating this abuse that you were talking about. So now there's like these two factions at war. There's Gamergate and there's anti-Gamergate, and it sounds exactly like you think. I believe that Gamergate is still supposedly focused on like, hey, come on, ethics and journalism, let's do it. Let's make this right. And anti-Gamergate is like, women. And that's the TLDR of what went down there.
Well,
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
the
think
sock
what's
puppet version
notable-
of it.
I think
Women.
notable is the mainstream media attention that it got, right?
Yeah.
And it was largely, and the
that
biggest
really-
thing is that, people questioning ethics in journalism does not get media attention, but abuse does, right? So I think at that point was when it really spiraled out of control. Once you started getting MSNBC, CNN, all of these people doing reports on Gamergate, then to the mass public, regardless of Gamergate's origins or the intention of people when it started, it ended up becoming in most people's minds directly linked to abuse, right?
Yeah.
And that I think is the reason why it's the biggest story, is because for the first time, not the first time, but probably the biggest time that I can think of, gaming was being talked about in the mainstream media. And unfortunately, it wasn't in a positive light. So I think when you look back at 2014, this was a really muddy, gross year as far as gaming in the media, which is too bad. We'll try to do better in 2015, I suppose. But to me, that has to be the number one story, just because of the all the attention and publicity gaming got, especially for all the wrong reasons.
And even from not being on the outside looking in, like being people who are like very much invested in gaming and near the center of that hobby and that industry, I think it's really notable because of how divisive it was and how absolute people were talking about it in their terms. Like, this wasn't something where there was a little bit of push and there was a little bit of pull. Like, when it was happening, we had like Gama Sutra publishing articles that said gamers are dead.
Yeah, that was weird.
Declaring that an entire, and that's when it's like things just got so muddy at that point, because it's like you don't get to declare that. Like, you don't get to define those terms.
It was
and furthermore, you don't get to you don't get to define those terms, and it's foolish for people to do that. Like, it's dumb if you're I'm sorry, like, that's dumb if you're an editor of a magazine who caters to gamers, to say that your own audience is dead and you are better and moving on from them is kind of like, that's great. Like, I'm not saying that
Please come back to our website.
I'm not saying that gamers don't have problems and that there are a specific faction of them that need to grow up, which is basically what it is. There are people out there who need to just grow up, and you know what? Like, you don't need to sling vile filth at people on the internet. Mm-hmm. Who knew that attacking people on Twitter wasn't a good idea? So it's messy. It's a situation where I look at both sides and I'm like, I don't like either of you.
It was really the most difficult part for me was I'm a political science major. And I've been but listen to this.
The pedigree.
Yeah, no. But
what was this? Was this a lesser degree on my shoulder? I'm just teasing.
It's trust me, if you have a poli-sci degree, you don't get to brag. You brag if you found a job within 6 months of graduating. That's when you brag. But anyways, I'm used to. That's all right. I'm used to very, very angry sides combating each other the whole time.
Yeah.
It was brought up around religion, right? And religion, you get a lot of the same, is very, very opinionated people, right or wrongly, kind of just making caricatures out of their opponents, right? And it's too bad, because gaming, I think, to a lot of people is a reprieve from that, right? You can put aside the politics, you can put aside the anger and the frustration and the hate, and you can just get lost in a game. And for those politics and that anger and that hate to seep into gaming, which is supposed to be an escape for so many people, I think that was the most difficult part for me, is that this was no longer a safe place for a period of time, right? I shouldn't say it wasn't a safe place, but there was a lot of kind of filth and ugliness that the world is really good at providing on a regular basis, seeping into that place of escape for a lot of people. And I think that was the most difficult part.
I have to ask the question, is it seeping in, or was it there already and we just kind of peeled back the Band-Aid and saw it and was like, oh God, Yeah. And I think there's people who have different answers. Some people will say, because I think, there is the issue of feminism in gaming, which is what Gamergate is about. Or not feminism, but equality between men and women in the games industry. And I think people who attack Gamergate come from that stance where they're like, well, this is about women being treated as equally, and not just in gaming, it's STEM, so like science, technology, engineering
and math.
Like, you know, that we saw even sort of like echoes of Gamergate in that whole NASA thing with the guy in his shirt, which is sort of, you know, tangential. But I mean, that was The Verge, I think, was the guy who called him out, a writer for The Verge. I don't
remember, but it was certainly the similar argument and debate kind of seemed to flow through a lot of news stories in 2014.
There was parallels between those two incidents.
That's right.
But
cool.
Yeah, so it's murky. It's not going to go away, I don't think. I think it's kind of subsided, but I'm sure something will stir it up eventually. I don't know what the end game is for this. Nevin, do you have any thoughts before we move on?
No, I pretty much said my piece.
Right on.
Yeah, I don't know. I think awareness is the best, and above all, promoting healthy discussion, because I think that's what's, like, both sides need to become much better at outing the people amongst them who are slinging filth, and both sides have those people, whether they want to believe it or not. And we need to promote better conversation. Let's move on. Let's talk about money.
Yes.
Do you guys like money?
Nope.
I love money.
I
have a little bit of it, and it's kind of
stupid.
nice. I have a couple dollars in my wallet, and sometimes I just look at it and stroke it.
Big spender.
Cool.
We're talking about
I don't
your
like
money
to brag.
still?
Huh?
We're talking about your money still?
Anyways, so there were some very big acquisitions this year in gaming. And we're going to touch on some of them because these are also probably some of the biggest stories, because a lot of money changed hands this year, and it was kind of shocking to me because it quantifies how big of an industry gaming is in a way that you don't always see. So the first that we're going to touch on, because it's the biggest, was Mojang being acquired by Microsoft for $2.5 billion.
Holy smokes.
Such a big dang number.
Like, that's a lot of money.
I can't even.
Yeah.
How would that look in a briefcase?
Filled with only pennies.
Hold on, no. How many briefcases would you need to carry $2.5 billion, standard side briefcases, $2.5 billion in American singles? How many briefcases do you think you would need?
What are you doing with all those singles,
like a warehouse. I strip.
Okay. There it is. I was waiting for that.
Yeah. Just low hanging fruit.
That's a huge Okay. Let's
It's a huge acquisition.
Absolutely. And I think especially for a game that started off as an indie game, right? That was the really interesting part for me, is it shows how far indie gaming has come since the mid 2000s. So
indie gaming has become kind of like the American dream in a way, where it's like anybody can come here and build a game and have it become the next Minecraft, except for minus shooting.
We're gonna have a gaming Scarface come out.
Say hello to my little game. Anyways, yeah, this was a huge acquisition. I don't know who put it like this, so I wish I could attribute this person. If you know, you can let me know in the comments, because I'm genuinely interested and I don't want to throw this quote around. But somewhere I read, and I loved the way they put it best, was that Microsoft isn't buying a game; they're buying a generation of gamers. And I think that is hard for me to realize, because I am 24, and I feel like if you looked at Minecraft's demographic, people like me are on the lower end of the spectrum. Where a lot of the Minecraft users are falling in between the ages of, I would say, if I had to range a guess, I would say 8 to 16 is probably Minecraft's highest demographic. And it is so smart, I think, for Microsoft to buy Minecraft or buy Mojang and have access to Minecraft like that, and basically own the love of those people. Because those will be the people who in 5 years will be buying Xbox Ones, wanting more adult Microsoft products.
No, I agree.
So I think that's a huge deal. Certainly the biggest acquisition of the year. Probably, I want to know how this stacks up compared to other industries. Like, I want to know if you kind of looked at a chart of all the big business deals of the year, how this one would rate compared to maybe some of the other things with oil and gas, or I don't know. I think a lot of money changed hands though. The next biggest one on our list was Oculus VR being acquired by Facebook. This one is
really
controversial. I think far more controversial
And
than
rightly
Microsoft.
so.
Yeah, a lot of people are upset. Facebook is not exactly a company that people would put on their list of companies that they trust or they like. Facebook is sort of this thing where like you need it now. It's like drugs almost, where you're like, I don't like drugs, but I'm addicted to them. So
Yeah.
I need drugs to
I
stop
think,
shaking.
I think the big
All my family's
the
on
big
drugs,
thing
so
that
I just
really,
do it. Fit in.
The big thing that really
I do it to
peeved
stay in
people
contact with all
about-
my old friends.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nevid, I
Sorry,
didn't mean
the
to
big
cut you
thing-
off.
Yes, you did.
I know. Intentionally.
The big thing that really peeved people about this acquisition is that Oculus was really marketing themselves as this we're not going to be acquired by a big company. We're not gonna sell to like Microsoft or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're your homegrown company. We're gonna stay indie, and not to mention that they had a freaking Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So
You had a
is-
Kickstarter to fund yourself. Why are you getting acquired? Did you spend all of your money already?
So this is the first controversial issue of this whole thing.
There is such a delay on your audio. Oh my god.
Yeah, we're all kind of getting delays. It's okay. This podcast will be a little bit rough this year. Who cares?
That's okay.
You're here for these beautiful faces, and those are totally intact. That is the biggest or one of the big kind of facets to this whole issue is there are a lot of people who are very upset that they even sold out to begin with, let alone to Facebook, because Oculus was kickstarted. And it brought up these issues of, well, if you kickstart a game, do you have a say in that? Or not a game, but if you kickstart something, are you an investor? Do you have a say in that? And, you know, that's kind of an interesting point. I don't think those people had a right to be upset, but that's just me. You gave a company money on goodwill, and they decided to sell it. I think the Facebook acquisition is the best thing that they could have done. Already, like this last week, they bought Nimble VR, which is VR that has basically a Kinect that maps your hand motions to the in-game. So, because I think that's one of the big things.
Yeah.
The big thing with VR is you put it on, and the first thing you do is you look for your hands. And if your hands aren't there. But now with this Nimble VR, you can see your hands. It maps your hands basically with a Kinect sensor, and it does a pretty good job. I think they wouldn't have been able to do that without Facebook money. They wouldn't be able to make some of the other acquisitions or getting some of the talent that they're buying without Facebook money. I think that, of course, I would love Oculus VR to stay like this sweet little independent project, but I think VR, if it's truly going to be the next step of gaming, it needs to have the money behind it that maybe doesn't come from being independent.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
if it
and
means
Oculus isn't
meaningful
the only
advances.
one either, right? I mean,
No,
Sony
there's
is releasing
Morpheus.
their VR. I've heard Xbox, rumor has it, are going to announce theirs in 2015 as well, right? So it's not like all of your hopes for VR are tied to Facebook, right? If it does prove to be successful, then we're going to be gaming on it and have some awesome games within a few years, regardless of who bought Oculus.
Yeah, and Valve
We
has
still
one on the
have
pipe.
we already have some really cool games.
Yeah.
Games for it. There are a boatload of indie games coming out all the time. People are porting like
It's not even
AAA
out yet.
games from years ago
Yeah.
onto it. It's not, and like we've got Skyrim, Mirror's Edge,
Wow.
and Half-Life
Half-Life.
2 is on there, and you use an actual like
Gun.
a gun thing for it.
Yeah.
Somebody put receiver on there. It's ridiculous. And
It's
then there are
very good.
games where you can be like a cat and bat things off the shelves. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone disagrees with my opinion of thinking that the Facebook acquisition is probably the best thing that could happen. Maybe another company, I don't know. Sure, it's shady, and I know when they came out, like the press release was kind of like it felt a little dirty because it was talking about how social networks and stuff, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to have like weird social integration with my VR experience. And I think those questions still remain to be answered, but I feel like if Oculus has $2 billion in its pocket and it's using that to further VR technology and make it the best it can be, I think that benefits the whole industry, having those types of pioneers making meaningful advances. So let's move on to Amazon acquires Twitch for $970 million. That's
a
our
lot of
third
money.
big
Came out of
acquisition.
Nowhere.
Everyone thought
Yeah,
it was
that
going
was
to be
a
Google.
dramatic few weeks. I remember that. Yeah.
Everyone thought it was going to be
I remember
Google.
like days before it happened, there were posts like Google might be buying Twitch. You guys, what are we gonna do? Oh
It
my
wasn't
God.
even rumors.
And then
It was
Amazon
like,
did it.
Google has been confirmed to buy Twitch. Like there was some pretty like hard evidence or people
But
were putting it out there.
I
like
was
it was
doing some
happening.
research for this yesterday because I prepare for the podcast, and I realized one of the main reasons why Google didn't end up buying Twitch was because of potential antitrust problems, because YouTube is obviously the other dominant video service on the internet.
Yeah.
So if they were to buy up Twitch,
I don't know, man.
which was
Daily
really
Motion is
pushing them-
coming on up.
That's right.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, anyways, I thought that was really interesting that Google probably would have, but there were some antitrust problems
know
that
about
they may
that,
have had
actually.
in the future. Yeah, that's right. You guys
That's
should all
new info.
consider preparing for the podcast in the future. So,
Well,
You're a crazy person.
yeah. What do you think this is? Do you think people want to
no
come
one's
and
paying us nothing for.
do you really think
I'm
that
not gonna
people
try.
want to spend an hour listening to people who know what they're talking about? You obviously haven't been on the internet very long.
We just need to seem like we do, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's pretty great. So far, they haven't made any changes to Twitch, aside from some, I think there's some terms of service stuff. Obviously, Twitch made some adjustments before the purchase happened, but those, I think, had to be made. For example, they added basically an algorithm that scans their video on demands and mutes them in 30-minute chunks if they detect a digital footprint of copyrighted music. I think it sucks. It sucks also when you get false flags like Dota. Valve's own videos were getting flagged and silenced because of this. So of course there's going to be false positives. I'm sure they're working hard to refine that to make it more accurate. But I think if you're going to be bought, there's going to be a lot of people who are looking to poach you for that money. So you need to sort of secure your business in a way that Twitch wasn't before. I don't think they'll ever institute a method to monitor that stuff live, which is what 90% of Twitch is. So I don't think you have to worry about. There's still going to be people listening to Kanye and playing Dota. And it's still going to be copyright infringement, but there's nothing you can do about it because the computer power required to monitor that stuff live would be too much. But I think it's an interesting acquisition. I'm glad it wasn't Google. I just got to say. YouTube's not the best.
That was the sentiment of
as
most of
people
the
who
internet.
make a living, ostensibly want to make a living using YouTube as a platform, it can really suck for a lot of people like us. There's a lot of hoops we have to jump through. Luckily, we haven't had too many issues, except for Dragon Age hatred comments of the week.
Oh my goodness, I love this.
Man.
Every day. If you
So,
listen to the last
Every
episode,
single day we get a new comment
if you listen to
on
the
it.
last episode,
Every
I was talking
single
about
day.
a video getting some hate from people, and since then I've made a point every morning when I wake up to share the comment, and it is every morning pretty much. I have a new email from someone, because apparently they only browse our video at like 3 a.m, and I think only angry people are up that late anyways. So
Or Australians.
yeah, so it's just like
Really mad Aussies.
yeah, screw you, mate. This is Australia. Our
offensive.
time is worth more than your time. 1 minute is 1.5 minutes in Australia.
That's how it works down there.
Yeah.
That's
Let's
how they're
flush
always ahead of
backwards.
us, like in the future.
That's right. Genius.
Smart. Science. Anyways, those were the big headlines
I
that we
did the
wanted
math.
to talk about. Those were, I think, the biggest stories of the year, if you wanted to summarize it down into a few. Some other notable things, kind of going along with Twitch, since we're talking about video services, YouTube rolled out 60 frames per second on videos.
Woo!
Honestly, it
I
sounds
can't
super
use 60
cool.
frames per second.
I can't. 1080p 60 is not that great. Like it significantly increases my loading time. I was stuttering really bad there. I'm still doing it. I don't
Good. You
use
should be
1080p
stuttering
60
because you know what you're saying is wrong. And 1080p 60 it's so good.
I'm not saying it's a bad
Silky
thing.
smooth.
I'm saying it's great. It didn't make that much of a difference to me.
I'm not so much excited for it from a YouTube standpoint because the YouTubers that I watch don't really use it. Anytime that I see a 1080p 60 video, I'm like, hey, that's so smooth.
Yeah.
But what really excites me about it isn't that, oh yeah, they're proving that you can stream 60 frames per second, because we knew that Twitch does it forever. I think it's great because like now people will be able to see the difference between 30 and 60, and they will understand that 60 is better. It's smoother. It's more fluid. It's easier to get immersed in it.
Yeah.
And they will sort of combat the quite frankly BS that a lot of companies are doing with their 30 is more cinematic. You don't need 1080p 60. Take 720 30 because it's better. Trust me. Nobody cares about 60 frames, and that's bull honky. Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel very strongly about the 30 versus 60 argument.
There we
Yeah.
go.
There we go.
Settled.
I will quickly run over the last of these quick stories. If you guys have a comment, you can make a quick one. Some other big things that I pulled. This is obviously an anecdotal list, so maybe there was something I missed. I just want to point that out there before someone jumps down my throat. Especially because some of these are a little bit biased. But a big one I think was the EU Commission wants to stop calling games free to play if they have in-app purchases, which Google has already followed through on. At least in the UK, I know they have stopped calling games free to play if they have in-app purchases in them. That's a good move. What? Like, anyone disagree?
No.
More clarity,
I
more
think that's
consumer
good.
protection. Let's move along. GameStop is closing 120 to 130 stores as it shifts focus away from gaming. Good riddance. Anyone else have other comments?
No, that's fine.
I hate that store. I think the other big thing was, EA shut down more than 50 multiplayer games this year. That caused quite a bit of a stir. Some people came in to save them. They worked to save a few other games. But, it happens. But I feel like I kind of felt bad for EA too, because it's like, oh, this is what you guys need right now. What a great publicity stunt. Remember all those games you
That's
loved?
okay.
Well, you can't play them online anymore.
Womp, womp.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
And then the one that's super biased for me, you guys probably hate that I included this, but man, the largest super capital fleet in EVE Online happened this year, and it cost $300,000 in damages in EVE Online.
I don't understand.
7,550 people
That
participated
doesn't make
in
any
a
sense
fight.
to me.
So EVE Online,
This is really interesting because I'm talking over you now, Steve.
Keep going.
We've been talking about Eve at work. Like the two people that I work with, none of us play it, but we sort of, I don't want to say pay attention to it, but we read into it. And there's a lot of really cool stuff about Eve. And the thing about Eve that's really cool is that the game itself doesn't care about you. The other players that you're playing with, odds are they don't care about you. And it's created this really, really interesting, not only economy, but way to interact with other humans. And that's what makes Eve cool. I would never play the game because it looks like a daunting monolith of just...
I love EVE Online. So
play it.
I have played EVE Online. I played it for 2 years, and I loved it to death. I eventually quit because it is time consuming, and I just wanted to focus on other stuff. You were absolutely right. EVE Online is a game with very little rules. A lot of games, if someone were scamming, so if they were like, oh, send me money and I'll do this for you, and you did that and they didn't follow through, you could report them. EVE Online, it's like tough stuff. You should have not probably sent that person money. It's very much like real life, where it's like, don't be dumb.
Yeah.
Because very few people will
advice.
care. Yeah, like,
Steve
oh, I gave this
Messner's
guy
life advice.
$5 on the street and he just ran away with my money. And it's like, well, what did you expect?
All right, we're going to Game of the Year.
Travis,
Someone's
got to
keep this podcast on track. You guys are out of control.
Okay, fine. EVE
We
Online
are
is
so
great,
out
though.
of control.
All right.
All right.
Let's move to our Game of the Year stuff then.
Oh,
Fine.
great idea, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. I just had
Steve,
this.
you're such a genius.
Oh,
I'll go
thank you.
first.
Actually, I was thinking about getting a poli-sci degree once.
Okay.
Steve,
Donkey
Steve, shut
Kong
up.
Tropical Freeze is my Game of the Year for the Wii U.
That's
is a
not
criminally
how it works.
That's a criminally underrated game, and it was released at a horrible time in February. And everything about that game is beautiful, from the art to the soundtrack. The level designs are tough as crap, and it's still so much fun. That's
You're
my
the
Game
worst
of the
person.
Year.
That's not how this format works.
How does this format
My
work,
game
Steve?
of the year. My game of the year is Distance. Everybody
Stop
saw
it.
that one.
Everyone knows that Nevin loves Distance.
It's I can't even lie. It's not even released yet, and I want it to have my babies.
Oh.
I'm mad at you guys. That was not how this format works.
Steve, what's
you
your
don't
Game
have
of the
time
Year?
for your format.
Come on!
My Game of the
Come on,
Year
Steve.
is my Game of the Year is I'm gonna go with Alien Isolation.
Good choice. Good choice.
That game and I'm going to do it in a lot better fashion than you guys did. And I don't know.
We don't have time for this.
Alien Isolation is a fantastic game. It was such a huge surprise. It proved that you could still make games with movie licenses and not have them be hot garbage. It proves that you can still make a $60 horror game and it can still be amazing and compete with all the crap that is coming out nowadays that people like to pretend is the only thing worthy of a $60 price tag. Companies would love to sell you on the idea that unless you have a full-fledged multiplayer with progression and prestige modes and all this crap and a 12-hour campaign and co-op modes on the side, that's the only way you can justify a $60 purchase. That is untrue. You can make a $20 game, you can make it $20 game, you can make a 20-hour game that is $60 and intense and beautiful and gorgeous and just rich and rewarding and original, and it can be just as good, if not more valuable, than any of those experiences out there. Alien Isolation was a little long. It had some pacing problems and it had some kind of wonky gameplay features, but the whole experience was so intimidating. And as someone who loves the Alien franchise, specifically the first movie, what they did with that game was a work of art, because the entire game is built so closely. It's built in the whole, it lives and breathes the original Alien movie. The aesthetic is the same, but not only that, on a thematic and a narrative side, the games mimic each other, or mimics the movie in such an amazing and powerful way, and the gameplay is enhanced by that, because you start off the game and you're so powerless, just like Ripley was in the first movie, and you're terrified of the alien. And a lot of people got frustrated because you'd spend 15 minutes hiding in a cupboard because you were scared to move, and they're like, well, this is bad gameplay, I'm bored because I'm spending so long waiting for my opportunity. But what I found is once you get past that hump and you start to learn to deal with the alien, just like Ripley did in Alien, you start to become less afraid of it, and it becomes more of an obstacle that you're trying to tackle. And then near the end, you get things like a flamethrower where you can take this thing head on, and it becomes so empowering, going from the beginning of the game where you are terrified and crapping your pants in a cupboard to throwing a Molotov cocktail at this thing and then shooting it in the face 5 times and surviving that encounter and just being like, yes! I am all that is man. Or woman, in this case. Woman, she's a woman. Anyways, there you go. How do you like that?
That was a nice little spiel there on Alien
I think I won the
Isolation.
game of the year. I out-described.
If that's how we measure this, I can go on for a while.
I was way more passionate. Anyways, what was your
I could
guys'
definitely go on, Steve.
what was your biggest letdown of the year?
Destiny.
Yeah.
Stir in the pot.
Mine
You know what?
was you didn't even play Destiny.
I played the beta. and,
Travis,
I
that
did not
hand
like it.
motion looked real bad on camera.
Yeah, I regretted doing that.
I don't
but-
think that you can. I don't think that you
Yeah.
can judge games that you didn't play the final product of.
That's
but
fair.
whatever, you can pick that.
I can pick Destiny.
My biggest letdown.
Yeah.
You can pick Destiny. My biggest letdown was honestly Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I like, don't get me wrong, I love that game. I still put way too much time into it, and I fully plan on buying the DirectX 11 version that they're coming out with in a few months. I'm gonna buy that, and I'm gonna destroy everything all over again, and I can't wait. But it just didn't live up to Dark Souls 1. You know,
No.
I was expecting more of Dark Souls 1, maybe with a bit of Demon Souls, and it just didn't do it. Here's hoping for Bloodborne.
Yeah, hopefully, definitely.
And
My biggest. Oh, go
Here
ahead.
you go, Steve.
Okay, so my biggest letdown of the year. I'll say Destiny, but largely I want to say all MMO type games this year that came out were not good. And as someone who really likes MMOs and I play a lot of them, I played every single one that came out this year, and they were all bad. And so that was like $240 that I just flushed down the toilet on all of them because they were all $60 too. It was like the year of overpriced crap MMOs, and I bought every single one of them because I'm a sucker.
I'm gonna let you have your opinions about Destiny, Steve.
Thank you. But
I'll be the
Destiny
bigger
was
man
by and
and just
large
let
the
you
most
have your
disappointing of all of them.
And this is
I
why
still
I say
enjoy it.
Destiny.
I
Nevin
still
has a
play
great
it.
point.
You're
Nevin has
crazy.
a great point that I totally did not buy the final version, but I was so excited for that game, and this was going to be the game that got me out of my hatred of FPS games. And I
Yeah.
loved Halo 3, and I love
Well,
RPGs, and this was the perfect mix of them. And I played the beta and was so bored.
That can
Let's
be,
be
that
honest
works, man.
here. when Destiny first dropped in the Destiny beta, it's definitely not what people were expecting from the game. You walk around in circles for hours to gather materials. It's a lot of a grind. There's no doubt
But
about that.
I love it.
They're changing it. They've fixed that.
Not enough. No, they have not.
They have done quite a lot to work in it. You haven't played it
I
since
have.
not recently, Steve.
We're gonna have to do a special podcast on the side where
Yeah,
you and I
you
go
guys
toe to
just
toe with
debate
Destiny. I actually
Destiny.
think we should do that.
I love
will
that.
Do
I'm
it.
down.
I will do the Destiny dispute
I'm
with you,
down.
and we'll go toe to toe on Destiny. It'll be friendly though. None of this. I don't want to
gonna-
hurt your feelings.
No, I'm gonna punch you right in your stupid face.
Logic punch. Anyways, let's
Moving
quickly
on.
wrap this up. So we did Game of the Year. What was, if you guys could summarize 2014 in one sentence, what would you pick?
I'll do
I
you
play-
one better. To save time. One word.
No,
Over.
You're the worst
Overhyped.
human being.
Overhyped.
We gotta wrap this up, guys. Overhype.
2014 was the year
Can
of
I-
overhype and unrealistic expectations, if I want to expect.
That's a sentence.
I'm going to I'm going to do you one better and combine a bunch of words into one word using hyphens.
Okay.
I play way too many indie games. Holy crap! I played so many indie games. Why did I play so many indie games? Indie games. There.
There we go.
So indie games was Nevin's.
Indie games. There's another way. of
Mine would have been if this was a Chinese calendar, this would be Year of the Broken Crap,
You're-
because everything was broken. Nothing came out that wasn't
Year
broken.
of the broken. Year of the hot garbage.
It would
There
be. This would be Year of the Crippled Dog.
Oh.
That's just the saddest thing I can think of. That's what
Yes.
gaming was this year. It's just this limping, crippled animal, just like buy me.
No,
it's like if you went to
got
the
it.
shelter to pick out a pet, and the games industry this AAA this year was this dog in the corner
AAA,
with
you need to
fleas, and it was just
specify,
like.
yes.
I'm so
you
close to
definitely-
dying.
And I bought
You
it, and I took
definitely
it
do need
home,
to
and I was like,
specify
"What's the
that, though.
refund policy
It
on
was,
this dog?" And they said, "No. Once you buy that dog, you
definitely-
keep it."
That's not how dogs.
You definitely do need to clarify that it was AAA that had the problems
Yes,
this year
yes,
because
yes, yes, yes.
And
I
not
spent my
Nintendo.
time
Yeah, Nintendo.
surrounded by indie games. I played. You guys know I do indie games. I probably tear through like 20 indie games a week to determine the ones that I want to do
Sure.
for the show.
I want to
And
address.
sometimes
something,
it
though.
goes up to like the last minute. Let me finish, punk.
Keep going.
I just want to address
Indie
something.
games. Since I surrounded myself with indie games, I don't feel like this year was as big of a disappointment. I do acknowledge that the AAA games were just, but I feel like the year was good.
If you were someone, I'm just gonna say this. If you're someone and maybe you play games on a console or something like that, and I know so many people are like this, and you don't play indie games, play indie games. Take a chance.
Yeah.
Research some indie games. Get them. I have a lot of friends who own consoles. They buy the $60 games, and they don't know what indie is. It's not intimidating, but it's just this unknown thing where they're like, oh, I don't know. It looks like Pac-Man. Why would I want to pay for Pac-Man? It's like, no. Indie games aren't that.
Yeah,
Indie
hey,
games
guys,
are
if
beautiful,
you're- if-
rich experiences.
Except for Meme Run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sign motion.
If you're new to, if you don't know a lot about indie games and you would like to learn something about indie games, you should just check out our show that we run every week in 3 episodes, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's called Indie Bites. I showcase one indie game every show for your enjoyment. Typically, they're free. Every now and then I buy one.
Wow.
Gotta check it out. Plug.
That sounds great. Where can I find that on YouTube?
Well, I'll tell you,
You
Travis.
can find this at youtube.com/pixelattackgaming.
Whoa! Do you guys have a Twitter handle
That's
as
right,
well?
Steve.
I guess
tell you,
not.
Pixel Attack.
I'll tell you something, Travis. We do have a Twitter handle. It's @Pixel Attack.
Whoa! How about each of us? Do we have our own Twitter account?
I don't know. Let me check. Click, 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 tap, tap. I do. @SeeStevePlay. That's SEE Steve Play.
Whoa! How about you, Nevin? Do you have a kitchen utensil you use as your Twitter handle?
Yeah, it's @ForkH.
Whoa! I'm gonna sign up at @TravisParkerM and follow all of you right away.
What a nightmare.
Wow!
Travis, I just wanted to say something, though.
I couldn't find my Zoom.
You said that's not how dogs work. That's absolutely how dogs work. Except for in this case, you
didn't
can't
say
return
anything
them.
about that.
I just wanted to pack up the indie game, or I wanted to pack up AAA this year and put it in a box and just leave it on the highway.
Wow, you're kind of a monster.
I'm out, dudes. I'll see you guys next week.
All right,
Bye.
this was a blast.
I don't